Hey everyone, it's Dr. Eudene, and today's question is, does sugar have an impact on your memory? Like, does sugar make you forgetful? Now, we've talked a lot about sugar, right? We've talked about sugar and inflammation and sugar and increased risk of diabetes and sugar being just kind of bad for you. But does sugar negatively impact your memory? Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Eudene. I'm a holistic medical strategist and practicing integrative physician. Now, here is what we do know so far, okay? We do know that diabetes seems to be an independent risk factor for developing memory problems as we get older. Now, other studies have also pointed out that the things that increase our risk for diabetes, such as insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome and obesity, they also seem to have a negative impact on our memory. So then that would seem to suggest that perhaps sugar does have an impact on our memory. So then should we just go out now and get our blood sugar levels tested? And if they're normal, should we go, that's a load off, we're good? Well, hold up, back it up, says a Finnish study Now, what they did there is that what they found ultimately in this study, I'm going to give you a sneak peek, they actually found that there might be a test that can help to predict if we're going to develop dementia as we get older. That sounds interesting, right? So here's what they did. What they did and what they found out and what they discovered was that our usual blood sugar testing, like the usual testing that we do to see if we have diabetes, like blood sugar levels or even hemoglobin A1C, what they found out is that even though those might be normal, we may still be at increased risk for memory. So if that's the case, then what kind of test are these people talking about? Well, they're talking about the 2-hour glucola test or the 2-hour glucose tolerance test. Now, what is that? What is that? Well, for those of you ladies who have had babies and gone through pregnancy, you're probably very familiar with this test. Do you remember having to go into your doctor's office or the lab, and then they mix you up this super sweet drink, right? And then they did your blood sugar, they drew your blood before, and then they had you drink this syrupy drink, and then they had you come back in 1 hour, and then they had you come back in 2 hours, and they drew your blood again. Well, that is called a 2-hour glucose tolerance test. And what that does is it really sees how you manage blood sugar. So it's like a sneak peek into diabetes. You see, we've known that for quite some time about pregnant women. We've known that checking a regular blood sugar level was not going to be enough because we do not want pregnant women who are pre-diabetic or because that can affect their babies, right? So that's the test that we use because we know that it's more specific and it really tells us much more about how we handle blood sugar. And this is what these researchers used in order to answer the question about sugar increasing our risk of dementia. What? So what they found is that if you had impaired, or basically what that means, if your 2-hour glucose tolerance test was not normal, and your blood sugar levels on this test was higher than was acceptable, they actually found that there was an increased risk of developing dementia with this particular test. So what they did was that they followed about 1,000 people over 10 years. They tested their memory and their cognitive functions, basically their thinking abilities, their memory and their thinking abilities. And they found that the higher blood sugar levels that you have after this 2-hour glucose tolerance test was associated with lower memory function and lower thinking ability. So to answer that question, does sugar seem to have an impact on your memory? Is that we may not know about the short-term effects. I'm sure, you know, like us having a candy bar or something is not going to immediately affect our memory, but over the long term, that might seem to be the case. So what then are we supposed to do about that? And here's the thing. Here's a takeaway point from this. Now, of course, there's more testing to be done, right? Then there's more research to be done. 1,000 people is not a lot of people. But the truth of the matter is it probably will have a negative impact. So here's what you can do right now that's not going to really cost you anything, is not going to have a negative impact on you, right? So the thing about this is if we're able to do glucola testing and start identifying people with abnormal glucola tolerance tests, then those people might be more inspired, more motivated to kind of look at lifestyle factors that improve blood sugar levels and improve the way that they manage their blood sugar levels. So looking into things like the Mind Diet, and look at the Mind Diet video to learn a little bit more about that. And exercises also improves glucose tolerance. And also what we might want to do at this point is then we can really get on controlling the other risk factors, such as cholesterol and smoking, that may also contribute to increasing our risk of dementia. This is Dr. Eudene. Until next time, I hope this is helpful. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.